Well, it's summertime here at Overdivest Nurseries, and as they say, the living is easy. Well, at least it's very colourful when you're surrounded by all of these gorgeous varieties of coneflowers, or Echinacea as they're botanically known. Now, this is just an example of some of the plants that are shipping out to garden centres throughout our region. That's the northeast and mid-Atlantic states of the US. Lots of really pretty plants, and if you'd like to find out more about them, can I suggest that you click and subscribe to this channel, and then as we post new videos, which we're doing all the time, you'll find that they'll turn up automatically in your feed. Now, the thing, of course, with coneflowers is they're developed from native species. You get, as you see, many different types and colors, ones that grow at different heights too. And if you're looking for one that's really short and compact and very free flowering and is really just a delightful little plant for putting near the fronts of beds and borders, then let me introduce you to this wonderful variety that's called Echinacea Tweety. Here's one that only grows about 8 to 12 inches high by about the same wide. And what I love about it is that it has this really bright, glowing, warm shades of orangey yellow, just gleaming with color. But also, look how free flowering it is. Here are the flowers that are out now, but look behind them and you'll see there's lots more buds coming. It starts to flower in the earlier part of the summer and then reblooms very well and actually keeps going right through into the autumn time. But to be able to encourage plenty of flowers on it, what I suggest you do is you think about snipping out some of the old flowers when they just begin to discolor. If you look at this one here, you'll see that the petals now are just beginning to discolor. Now, this one's still good for another week or 10 days, but when they start to turn a brownish color, that's the time to go in with a pair of scissors or pruners and just snip out the old flower heads. That stops them making seed. It then encourages them to throw up new buds from inside the crown, and that's the way you're going to be able to keep it reblooming through the rest of the season. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is an absolutely delightful little plant for putting into small spaces. So if you've only got a small garden and you've only got a tiny space and you want something that's bright and colourful, this one very definitely fits the bill. But it's also a nice little plant to put into raised beds or even into containers. And if you have the space, it'll look really delightful if you're able to mass them in a kind of nice little grouping of, say, 3s or 5s or 7. You'll certainly see that it's a very nice little plant to put in at the sides of beds and borders in rock gardens and the likes. Now, the one thing with coneflowers is they love to grow in either a sunny or partially shaded site. But the thing that really makes them, it's important to point out, is that they need to be really planted in well-drained soil. Just an average garden soil will be fine, but just make sure that it doesn't lie wet, particularly in the winter time or in springtime after you get snow melt. You'll find then that they will establish and come back with this perennial color. And one of the things I like about this one as I'm touching it here is that it produces its flowers on strong, sturdy stems, which of course can be cut and used for putting into floral arrangements too. So a delightful, compact, very free flowering and really colorful little compact dwarf growing variety. This is Echinacea Tweety. Now, just to give you a little bit of information about its background, it started out life near the coast of Holland in 2011. Two brothers there, Garrett and Derek Bowl, run a nursery where they grow lots of perennials in the sandy soil. And in 2011, Derek Bowl collected seed and then developed this variety, and he selected it out in 2012, and then it was introduced in 2019, and we've been growing it ever since, and we really every year look forward to this little variety flowering because it truly is an outstanding little beautiful compact growing perennial that of course has been developed from native US species. So hardy throughout our region, really delightful little plant that's going to bring in butterflies and pollinating insects from all over the neighborhood and brighten our hearts and make our summers extra colorful. This is Echinacea Tweety.